All right, guys, welcome back to the show. We're still up here camping with all our friends, and I've been wanting to do this for a while. I asked Ralph Cowden, he's on here with us, and Jason, his son. And we were going to talk about bear hunting and bear stories. Well, we're going to listen. They're going to talk. But so go ahead and start in.
We're not. You're going to help us talk.
No, we are. Yeah. They're not exactly thrilled about being on talking yet, but we'll forget about the mics here in a minute. Usually takes a little bit.
Don't worry, we can edit it all out.
Yeah.
This is like out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, you go ahead and tell that story you were talking about. Rusty, you said you were going to tell that story.
Okay, well, what it was, we were up in Mariposa country. We had run a bear off in Devil's Gulch, which is, well, you can tell by the name, it was a bad canyon. And Rusty, he was an older man than me. He was probably 60. And we were walking down, and he had taken a young dog with him. And we got almost to the tree, and boy, them dogs was just a sounding off and a barking. And this dog that he had with him was wanting to get there. And Rusty had stepped over, the dog had jumped over a log, and Rusty was on the other side of it. And all of a sudden, I heard Rusty screaming, bloody murder. I thought, what is wrong with him? And he got to screaming so bad that the bear come out and had a little dog fight with the dogs, and out there they went. And I went over there to see what in the world was wrong with Rusty. Well, his dog had jumped that log, and a rattlesnake was between him and like the dog was ahead of him. The dog was ahead of him, and he was trying to jerk him over that snake. So he was screaming bloody murder, trying to hold that dog back. He had that stupid leash wrapped around his hand. And by the time I got over there, it was all over with. But he was now we're after another long walk, and we treat the bear again, and we went on down and made a short hunt to a long one, and we walked on and seen the bear again, and just leashed up the dogs and went home. But that was a story about a rattlesnake, I guess, more than a bear.
Yeah, but Dad said you brought up Rusty. Tell that story about when he got down there and he got stuck on top of that beehive.
Oh yeah,
we gotta get the mic right there so we can hear what you're saying.
So we were sitting out on a dead end road in the trucks, and we were listening to the dogs treat. So some of the boys decided, hey, we'll go down into the bear tree and you guys walk around. And I said, okay. Well, Rusty had to turn his truck around at that dead end road, and he pulled up and bumped a log, and it spun out. So he had to get out and turn the hubs in. Well, when he got out to turn the hubs in, that stump he had bumped was full of bees. And he got out, and instead of jumping back in the truck, he went to fighting them with his cowboy hat. And I hate to tell you all the cuss words he was saying, because every time he got stung, he was cussing. And he was swinging that hat and fighting. He finally backed up in the road and was just fighting and sweating. And I finally run up and I just grabbed him by the shoulder and I run him. Another old hunter
He
told
wouldn't
me,
run. He just kept
fighting. He just kept fighting the bees. And another old bear hunter had showed me, when you run from the bees, don't run out in the open. You run through the bushes, because when the bushes flap back, they flap the bees away. So I grabbed old Rusty by his jacket and was dragging him, and I run him through the bushes, and we got rid of the bees. And then we drove around, and them other boys had went on through and to the bear tree and had got dogs, and they was all standing in the road waiting on us. It took us so long to get there. And that's just another story of some old hunters I used to hunt with. They're all dead now.
Yeah. Rusty, did Charlie pass away to you?
Yeah.
So, because you were telling me about
Charlie Coons.
Yeah.
Tell about that.
You can talk to mine.
Tell him about Jason, about how he wanted to die.
Oh, Charlie was a packer. He'd ride horses all out in the back country by himself and bear hunt, and he'd treat a lot of bears.
Lions too.
Yeah, and Charlie said when he died, he wanted to get eat by a bear and come back as a big pile of bear crap, so the bears could get even with him.
Oh man.
He had two old dogs named Dixie and Sally. He had caught 36 lions with them two dogs. Right there. Most of them all right there in Devil's Gulch.
Wow. Yeah. Really? There's that many down there, huh?
Well, that's those dogs were probably 10 years old.
Mm. I haven't been down there. That sounds terrible though. From the
Devil's-
stories I've heard.
Devil's Gulch.
Yeah.
There ain't no reason to go down there.
Really? Is it real rocky or what?
It's just super steep and brushy, and yeah.
And rocky. Yeah, I'll tell you another little story of speaking of rocks. We was headed into the gulch, and it was me and Jason and my son-in-law, Bill, and we had another guy with us, kind of a wimp. But anyways, we got down there, and the dogs. The dogs was in a rock pile, but the dogs had got in the rock pile and got behind the bear and couldn't get out. And boy, my imagination was going crazy because I could hear them in there fighting and the dogs hollering. I said, man, he's killing my dogs. And this guy that was with us was supposed to shoot it. Well, he ain't never got there yet. And I said, Bill, Bill, get in there.
I was standing on top of the rocks, and like you said, your imagination. I don't know what I was probably 14 or 15, and I just was standing looking at all them holes, thinking this bear's gonna come out of one of these holes and get me any minute.
So I said, Bill. Now see, Bill told me this because I can't remember it all. But Bill told me, he said, Ralph, you told me to go in there, and I said, no, I ain't going in there. So I said, Jason, and Jason wouldn't go. So I said, okay, Bill, I'm gonna kind of get in there. I'm gonna be kind of upside down. But when I get in there, if I go to holler and jerk me out, get my hold of my feet and jerk me out of there. So I leaned down in there and I went to shooting and upside down.
Upside down in a hole.
Yeah, honest and truly. And I got him shot, and we got him. It was hard getting him out of there. We finally got him pulled out of there, and I got all them dogs out, and they had a few little holes in them. All they had. They wasn't bad at all.
Oh, Dad was panicked about. You could
That's
hear them
probably the
dogs.
only reason he went down
He
in
was
there. Huh?
Those dogs were screaming. They were squalling, and he was panicked. They're killing my dogs. They're killing my dogs. I got to get in there. They're killing my dogs.
What was the best dog you ever had?
I've had so many. 45 years of bear hunting. I've had a lot of them. All the good ones get killed usually, and but
Is it just because they're more aggressive and just get in there?
well, that's why they're the good ones because
Yeah.
they make a bear take a tree.
My favorite was Rock.
His favorite was Rock, and then I had Rock Jr., where he was probably my best rig dog and bear dog. But my last one was Creeper. Creeper was he was only 4 years old when he died, but dogs get pneumonia real bad for some reason when you're hunting them in cold weather, and they they'll get real hot, and then they cool down, and I don't know, he died of pneumonia. But there wasn't hardly a bear he didn't put in a tree, and if he didn't put him in a tree, he'd come in and eat up. Yeah,
Wow.
he was probably my best one.
Wow.
So for anybody that's listening, or just for someone that doesn't know, like, how do you train a dog to do that? Like, do you run them with older dogs and they just figure it out, or like, how do you do that? If you're
Well,
training a bear dog.
I'll tell you a little story I told a kid. He said he wanted to be a bear hunter. He says, what does it take to be a bear hunter? I said, first thing you got to do is have a good Christian wife. Anyways, you got to have a good Christian wife because you ain't going to be home much. And I told him, I said, you got to wear out a lot of trucks, make your wife mad all the time, and that is pretty much what makes a bear hunter. Because if you're going to make dogs, you got to be in the woods.
Okay, that answers the
That's
question.
a good
Right
answer
there.
there. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I told an old boy that one time, and of course, he never did make a bear hunter.
You must have not found a good Christian wife or something. Now, because I've only went a couple times. I don't think I got to go with you. I think I might have went with you one time, maybe once. I've only been a couple times, but I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but when you do go with them and you sit there and chase dogs all day, I know that's part of it.
You hunt dogs more than you hunt bear.
And that's just it for nobody who you are, huh? But
Well, the day you went,
No, I'm saying.
no, I'm not saying I wasn't with you that I did
No,
that.
what I'm saying because their dogs are running something besides bear.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
if you're not treeing,
Yeah,
if it's not going up a tree,
You're gonna
not,
run.
You're not
Run.
running a bear.
Yeah.
You're running something that don't climb.
gotcha. Okay.
you spend a lot of time in your truck on a dead end road waiting for dogs to come back. Especially back before we had tracking units and all this stuff we have today. We used to hunt with just the dogs, you had to listen to their voice and know where they went and know the country, and just stay up with them in a truck. I mean, that's the thing. You wear out a mini a truck just chasing dogs, and like I say, I've waited on frozen ground and slept on frozen ground, and it's not as fun as you think. There's a lot of waiting, and a lot of times you're sitting there wanting to go home and can't because you got dogs scattered all over the country. It's got to be in your blood.
You have
to
some
be
grit,
it.
yeah.
You got well, it's just got to be in your blood.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah,
that,
you gotta
that
love it.
brought a story to mind with you and Charlie Kuntz. And I was sitting at home on a Monday night, and it was a long time ago, and I remember the football team playing. It was Tampa Bay Bucks and the Steelers playing football on a Monday night, and it was in wintertime, and you had dropped off into the River Canyon, Merced River Canyon, and you was gone all day apparently, and it was snow down there. Well, Charlie called me about 8 o'clock at night, and he said, your dad's went off in a hole. He ain't come back. It's been a long time. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do, Charlie? I can't go find him. And I said, Charlie, go to the end of that Heights Cove Road and wait. He'll be there. He's going to come out the Heights Cove Road. Go wait on him. Well, Dad had ended up coming. He had drove his quad down there, and Dad seen his taillights going out. And Dad had to walk from up the canyon, hit that road, all the way out, freezing cold with a pack of dogs. And it's about 9, 10 o'clock at night when he gets out of there, and Dad walks up to
Out of Heights Cove?
Out of Heights Cove.
That's a walk.
But he was further down and came around there. Yeah.
I walked up the river first. It's 3 miles to the road, and then
Oh,
you
my
walk the road.
goodness.
So he came to that first house there on the left.
Yeah.
Looked like some good people.
Mm-hmm.
He went and knocked on the door because he's frozen solid, because there's solid snow crawling through that brush. And he knocked on the door with a rifle in his hand and a pack of dogs and asked the man if he could warm himself by his fire. And the guy brought him in, gave him a cup of coffee, and Charlie finally come back.
Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. Charlie finally showed back up and picked him up. But
Well, the reason I seen Charlie's taillights was he come down in there on a quad, and there was a tree across the road. So he had to turn around, and he had to go all the way back home to get a chainsaw. The time he went back home and all that, I walked out. But there was 2 guys with me that I left down in the bottom because they couldn't walk. They was done.
Really?
Yeah. We had the bear skin
And I'm
out.
sure you were way older than too.
Oh, yeah, I was a lot older than both of them. Well, one was 12, and the other one was his dad was probably 25 or 30. That kid's
Oh, I
dad.
got you so young, kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but the young it wasn't the young kid that got tired. It was the dad. But we had the bear all skin out and down there laying on a rock, and they went back the next day and got it on a quad.
How old are you right now?
I'm 68.
68. Okay. So what's that? You were telling me. What were you telling me about last night, Jason? About it was about Charlie Kuntz when we were sitting around the fire last night.
coffee cup?
No.
No, don't do the coffee cup. I can't remember the details.
I'll tell.
Oh.
No, I can't remember the details of that one.
Are you talking about when he got out and went
smell?
to the restroom and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, this guy's listening to this.
So
Real men listen to this.
So Charlie got sick with sugar diabetes, and he couldn't hardly see, and he was in his older age struggling. We was hunting, and we took out.
We were fox hunting at this time. We was running fox. Bear season was over.
Oh, you were
was
there?
it? It was at Jackass Meadows. Okay, go ahead. Jackass Meadows. And anyways, Charlie, we're driving down the road there. It's still dark. It's coming daylight, and Charlie's like, "Hey, pull over. I got to go to the restroom." So he gets out of the truck and goes down the hill, does his business, comes back, and then he gets in, and I'm like, "My goodness, did you wipe?" and then I'm like,
hear that?
goodness. I'm like, goodness, Charlie, you stink. And so then I just tried to forget about it and drove a little further. I said, "Give me a cup of coffee, man, please." So he pours me a cup of coffee, and I go to take a drink of it. And, oh, my goodness, he had that all over the cup. I stopped and turned the light on in the truck. He drug his coverall suspenders all through it, had it on the thermos, the coffee cups, the seat. I'm like, Charlie,
Steering wheel.
Get out,
Steering-
Charlie. Get out.
Was that your truck or
It was
his?
my truck.
Oh man,
Oh, dude.
that's the.
He's like, well, I can't see.
When did Charlie pass away? Was Rusty after him or?
Yeah, Rusty was after him, but I think Charlie.
Rusty just died about a year and a half ago,
Oh, did he?
Charlie died about 5-6 years ago.
5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm.
Charlie was, man, you could go lay down at night underneath the stars and he would tell jokes all night long and never tell the same one twice. He was a lot of fun. That guy.
He had a guy that was had some kind of a book about. He wrote stories in these
Yeah, we
hunting
gotta find that
magazines.
book.
He wrote stories, and he wanted to go hunting with Charlie, so Charlie took him, and they was up. They was at the gulch again, and they was running a fox, and they had treed this fox, and they'd walked way down in the gulch, and they got there, and the fox, just as they got to the tree, the fox come out, and away the dogs went, and they come back up. They walked back all the way, got to their truck, and just laid down and went to sleep. Well, about daylight, Charlie told that old boy, "Hey, man, wake up. You can sleep in your grave." and he got him up, and they took off, and they heard the dogs treat again. They had it treat again, so they headed to them, and they walked and got in there, and they got there, instead of having that same fox they had jumped out, the dogs had switched, and they had a bobcat treat. So that old boy wrote that whole story in some book. That's been
Oh, yeah.
25 years ago.
I used to have the book. I don't know where it is now. I probably need to find it. But
What about that story you were telling us about last night? You were running all night by yourself.
I don't know. I can't remember what I told
Or
you.
was that you telling it, Jason? Something you're saying your dad was running by himself all night or something like that. Didn't sleep.
I can't remember. We told so many.
Are you talking about up here? Where they were hunting up here?
We told so
Maybe.
many
They-
stories last night. There's
They
so
come
many
through. The
stories.
bear comes through the camp.
Well, right here in this camp, we're all sitting in a little camp here now, at Upper Chiquita Creek, way up high, about 6,800 feet. We camp here every year, and boy, the bears used to be bad about coming in here and robbing them and stuff, and robbing our camps. And I always had my hounds here, and we had one bear that was so bad. He was a park bear, and they brought him in here and turned him loose, and he was rob us every night. So, well, we was all sitting around here playing dominoes, waiting on him to come into camp. And he come into camp, and there must have been 50 of us, quads, and we chased him all over this place. I mean, all over. And Jason, tell him your part about chasing him on your quad.
Yeah, I run him up the road. Well, they're not familiar with it, but anyways, up top, back up here, and the dogs was actually I just started cross country because he was in a meadow, so I just went right behind him, and the dogs had pretty much a horseshoe around him, and he was just loping, and he had just stopped and whirl and scatter them, and I seen him run into some real thick grove of trees, and I rolled right up there on him, and he come right back out. He went in them trees and come right back out trying to grab a dog, and well, he got close. In fact, I was thought, well, this bear is not even scared of my quad, and he was a big bear. And I think they ended up shooting him in this camp. Some deer hunters did.
Yeah, come bear season.
He went out over the top of that mountain.
We never did get him treed. He just wouldn't tree, but my dog stayed on him, and I went to the end of the road, and I jumped off and told that kid to just take the quad, and I run behind him. And about the next day sometime, here come my son-in-law and his brother looking for me, and they found me coming walking down the road. I was way away from camp. I must have been, I don't know how far, but they finally found me. But anyways, that one got away.
I don't know how you guys always find each other too. You're always like, to me, I'd be like, I don't know where to look. You know what I mean? But you guys know these roads like the back of your hand. You've been driving down them for so long, and you know them too. Like all the for being younger. I feel like you're younger. I mean, you're not that old, Jason. But like
46.
yeah,
Pretty
but
old.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. I'm just saying you guys know every name of every road and
Yeah.
every this runs into that and this river goes here. It's like I don't know how you sit there and look at a map, or you just have so much experience.
Just being here that much.
Yeah.
You know, we're in
Knowing
one area.
what connects to what.
This area right here, from here to back toward Mariposa, was pretty much a lifetime here.
Yeah.
That's all we ever did.
I'll tell you another little story here. My son, he kind of, makes me. I don't know how to
Look
say
on
it.
Jason's
I don't-
face.
I don't-
Like, what is he about
What
to
are you
say?
about to say?
What it is, he just don't like the forestry rangers trying to boss us, is what it is. And me, I eat humble pie, and just kind of take what they say and don't worry about it. But Jace don't do that. But anyways, we were up here. It was a bunch of us, and we were bear hunting and deer hunting, and everything was going on. And well, we drove around the corner, and the dogs blew up, so we turned out on this bear. And they weren't off in this deep canyon, and they were running in this road we were on, just kind of paralleled with them. But they were down in a hole running, and we were just kind of staying with them. And man, all of a sudden, here comes these two bucks that run across the road in front of my truck. So I just stop and shoot one. It's deer season. I got a tag. So I shoot this buck, and I made some bad shots on him. I'm using an old bear rifle shooting at deer, and I kind of wounded him. And he was trying to get away, and I shot two or three. Found out stupid gun didn't even shoot straight. But anyways, I finally got the deer killed, and we gutted him out and dragged him back to the truck. Now we got to go find the dogs. So we take off, and we get way around there, and the dogs. We finally find the dogs again. They're treed. They got the bear. So we pull around there and we kill a bear. So now we made a good day. We killed a bear. We killed
that's a
a
good
nice
day.
buck.
Yeah.
And we're headed back to camp, and here comes a ranger. And this ranger, he's not a game warden, but he wants to see Jace, you finish it out now because you're the one who got to arguing with him.
He wanted me to pull over. He was in a fire truck, and he said, pull over. And I said, for what? He goes, you got a bear in your truck. I get, well, so? What business of that is yours? And I think we're having some technical difficulty.
Go ahead.
Anyways, and he's like, well, are you qualified to be doing this? And anyways, I don't know. I said, ain't you supposed to be checking trees or something? But he just wanted to hassle us, and I don't.
Does he even have the
He was-
authority to
he-
even do that?
Well, he called the game wardens in, which we was all legit. Everything was fine. It wasn't a big deal.
The thing
but-
of it is, when he called the game warden in, he's in our camp, and we just hung that deer in there. So he was in our camp checking out our deer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he wasn't very far down the road. So
Oh, he was already checking your deer
yeah,
while you
yeah.
guys were gone.
While we were gone getting the bear.
Okay.
So now this ranger's got us pulled over, and Jason's arguing with him. So he calls the game wardens in, and this game warden comes in like there's something wrong. But he got there, and of course, he found out that Jason, that it was just wasn't no big deal. Everything's tagged, everything was perfect, and we just didn't think a tree checker,
fire guy,
a tree
yeah.
checker should be checking bears. So
Anyways,
yeah.
I just don't
He,
like being
he wanted to
hassled.
be a ranger. Or
I
a
don't.
game
Yeah, I
warden.
just don't like being hassled over nonsense.
I mean,
There's
how
no
can he
reason
even
for it.
technically pull you over like that anyways, in all
That's-
reality?
Yeah. Anyways, but
He's in a fire truck?
he was in a fire truck. He was a U.S.
But they do it.
But
They do
and
it.
I knew the guy. I
So
knew
they
the guy
do-
from. I'd bumped into him a lot of times up here.
Okay, so he
and
just
he'd already had some
hassled
other
you.
difficulties with other people, and
Yeah.
I just didn't care for him.
What do you guys? I feel like you guys have got hassled a lot as bear hunters. Why do you
Absolutely.
think? Why is
feel
that?
the same way.
Well, I've been hassled.
No, but why is that though?
I've been a
You're a
hassle.
bear hunter. Why don't they do that to deer hunters? I'm trying to figure out
you
why.
know what?
because we're in the woods constantly.
For reals though.
I really wanted the same thing. I didn't know anybody else thought like that.
No,
I felt the same way. They don't hassle deer hunters like they do bear hunters, and it's almost like they treat you different, like you're
An outlaw.
doing something
wrong. Legal.
wrong, or the way you're catching these bear is.
You think it's the dogs? You think it's doing that with the
like
dogs?
you
that they-
have an advantage with a dog. I don't know, but they've completely banned it here. Anyways,
Yeah.
California.
And how many times have you had an unsuccessful hunt? So how's it unfair? You know what I mean?
Most of the time.
Or did you guys
Most of the time we were successful. a lot.
Really?
Yeah, but they don't see the ones that's no good. They just see the ones
Very
that they gotta
rarely.
tag
I
the
gotcha.
bear.
Very rarely were we unsuccessful.
Well, I mean, do you think there's a lot of bear hunters that are doing stuff wrong to kind of put you guys all into one little box, or what?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I know there's some guys out there probably don't go by the book. I've always tried to do everything
Yeah.
as right as I could,
hmm
but I don't know. But it doesn't matter anymore. They've banned all that
Yeah.
here.
What year was that when they banned bear hunting in California?
I'm not sure the date.
Well, you can.
I'm not
Okay, let me
sure.
rephrase that.
About
You can
5
hunt
years.
bear in California,
Well,
but you can't
yeah,
use
you
dogs.
you
cannot
can't
use-
run them with dogs no
you
more.
can't
no.
use dogs.
Can't run them on. You can't run bear or bobcat anymore.
We
Or-
can't even shoot a bobcat anymore in California.
Yeah,
they
it's-
changed that
yeah,
too.
It's a
Stupid.
It's a sorry state.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's heard that on this podcast. Say that multiple times.
It's a sorry state.
It is.
All right, Jace, tell them the story.
Well, I'm going to tell the one with. There's so many I can't even remember them all. But Tommy Driscoll is a good one. That's a pretty good story.
Yeah. That is a good one. We caught 2 bear that day. The dog split, and I took one boy and went one way, and Jason went another way.
I don't understand
but
how
Jason's
he ended up
story,
there 'cause he was with
Jason's story was a lot more exciting than mine. Mine was just shooting a bear and dragging him all day, and then Jason's had a little more excitement to it.
So yeah, me and Tom got down to the tree, and he wasn't sure. And Tom's not much of a hunter. He hasn't been out much hunting, so we got to the tree, and he had him a little short-barreled lever action 30-30, and I'm explaining to him what the bear was in the tree, and I'm asking him if he wants to shoot. But anyway, he's finally decided, yeah, I'll go ahead and shoot. So I didn't have a gun at that time because I'd given mine to another guy that was there. So anyway, Tom decides that he goes ahead and starts to shoot, and I guess he empties his rifle, and bear comes out and runs off, drops down the hill, and I'd tied the dogs back, and I turned the dogs loose again, and we went all the way down to the bottom, further deeper in the canyon. So I told him, hey, when we get to this tree, you're going to need to be ready to shoot quick because this bear's going to come out. He's going to come out. He's real nervous. So we get there, and the bear's looking at us, and I said, shoot him right between the eyes. And he shoots and misses. I go, shoot him again. And he shoots, and the bear goes to ringing his head and starts down. I break and run. I got a gun now. I break and run, and the dogs are not leashed back. They're underneath the tree. And I break and run and get right under the tree, and I throw my gun up, and I'm thinking, I don't want to shoot this guy's bear. And I'm like, get down here, get down here. So he runs down there, and I go, shoot him right in the back. Just aim in the biggest part of him and start shooting. And he's like, I'm out of bullets. I'm like, where's all your bullets? I don't know. So I hand him my gun, and my gun only held 5 rounds. Mm-hmm. And he pulled 3 rounds off. Boom, boom, boom. It was a semi-automatic 44 Magnum rifle. He pulled 3 rounds off. Boom, boom, boom. And the bear's coming down. And I grabbed the gun from him and run up at a barrel length away from the bear and stick it under his arm and pull 2 shots off. Boom, boom. Bear jumps into a dry creek, and this all happens within 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. The bear bolts away from me, maybe 20 yards. He's headed away, and as I step into the creek, I pull my gun, look down the sights to fire. The bear turns and starts toward me, and my gun goes click. And I thought, oh, no. He's got me. I never had a chance to get scared because it happened so fast. But I was like, he's got me. Mm-hmm. And in one motion, I whirled the run. He closed that gap in the blink of an eye and was right at my feet. And I did yell real loud, hollered, real loud. And I hit that manzanita brush like a fullback, run right through it. And I heard Tommy yelling, he's killing that dog. He's killing that dog. So I ran up, pulled 2 rounds out, got him in the gun, ran back down there, and he was mauling that dog, and I shot him off that dog. And
Tommy said the dog. Tommy said,
no, go ahead.
Tommy had took the second shot had taken the bear's jaw off.
Oh, okay.
So
so then he couldn't do nothing.
He couldn't really hurt me. I don't believe if he'd have got me down.
Oh, so it was off when he was chasing you.
Yeah.
He didn't have just didn't know that.
He didn't have. Well, I didn't know that.
He didn't hurt the dog either.
He didn't hurt the dog
because he
could. In fact, when I shot the bear off and the bear rolled off the dog stood up. He was solid blood, and he was looking around with a puzzled look, like
I'm alive.
I'm okay. I'm okay. And yeah, so I thought at that point later on, that'd have been a pretty good story if that bear would have got me down. I might have sold my pants. I don't know, but he couldn't hurt me.
On you.
He couldn't hurt me.
You.
Yeah, he couldn't hurt me. But anyways.
Yeah, can you imagine? And then you finally realize, wait a minute, he don't have nothing.
Yeah, and he was probably pretty weak because we'd put a few rounds through him. But anyway, that's another. Anyways.
I had a similar story just like that with a fella named Donald Helton, and he got so nervous when the bear hit the ground. I'm just making this a short story because it's almost the same as that one. The bear had a broke jaw. Of course, we didn't know it, and that's the only. And he'd run out of bullets, and then he handed me the gun, and I said, and it was empty. And I said, well, Donald, it's empty. Give me some bullets. Well, he kept reaching in his pocket and handing me certs. I said, Donald, I need bullets, not certs. Give me some bullets. He was so nervous. And of course, we had crawled in the snow and everything. And anyways, it had my best dog down at one time. She was solid white, but when I finally got the bear killed, she was solid red, but he didn't hurt her because his jaw was broke. But anyways, we started gutting the bear, and old Donald's hands was so cold he couldn't even get his knife out of his pocket, and then he couldn't get it open. And I said, well, Donald, I'm gonna warm your hands up right here. And I reached and I gutted that bear open, and I pulled his guts. I said, stick your hands right in there, and I'll guarantee you they'll warm up. And he did. He stuck his hands in there. It wasn't long. I don't know if his hands ever warmed up or not, but I don't know if that's why he couldn't find the bullets or what. But he got so nervous he kept handing me certs.
Tell our, I don't know if you, because you told us a story about last night around the campfire about the guy that you took that basically freaked out, almost shot you.
Oh,
shot him in the back.
A lot of times up here we don't care about killing bears. We're just up here running the dogs mainly. So a deer hunter and his son was there, a 12-year-old boy. He had a bear tag, and the guy asked if we could shoot the bear, and we're like, yeah, sure, come on. So we take him down there, and the boy had a scoped rifle, and he had trouble. He just couldn't hit the bear, and he finally shot the bear through the foot there, and the bear fell out on the ground alive. And I don't know why we didn't have the dogs tied back, but the dogs started fighting with the bear, and I was standing back with the boy's dad, and a couple guys ran up close trying to get a close shot in, so didn't hit a dog. And I broke and run to get up there and try to finish the bear off. And the dad, as I broke and run about 5-10 feet in front of him, he pulls off a shot from back behind me. And the concussion
basically shot right over your shoulder.
Right over my shoulder. And the concussion of the rifle slapped me in the back of the head. I made a left-hand turn.
He's going this way.
I just made a left-hand turn out the other way. And Dad broke and run and pointed at him. I heard Dad yell, hold your fire. Hold your fire. And after we got done, the guy was shaking and having trouble. And his boy was like, Dad, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I just got a little wound up. I got a little wound up. But you find it.
You find out about people, huh?
Well,
when you do that kind of stuff.
People who come into an experience they have an experience for. We've had even Marines. Well, they said they were, and Army guys. They didn't shoot very good. They got nervous.
Telling you they're snipers and can't hit the broadside of a barn.
They were pruning trees.
Yeah.
And but I think it's just being in an environment that
it's unfamiliar,
and it makes people nervous. And it's like me. I'm not nervous. My dad's more. He gets up in their face with a stick. I'm not. I want a gun, but I'm not gonna get it. He's more brave.
A stick.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, one time, he come home and told me the story, and then he had two guys to back it up. But he got a little aggravated at me because I said, "What?" And there was an old sow over in Sweetwater. You remember that story, Dad? It was Ronnie Mitchell and Derek Rayburn. Derek Rayburn passed in a car accident, and when they all moved to Arkansas. But, anyways,
you just have to tell it, and it'll come to me. I've had so many, Jay, I can't remember.
So there was that little 150-pound sow. Couldn't tree her. Couldn't keep her up a tree. She would tree, and she'd come right back out. Well, you broke and run down the hill, and Ronnie Mitchell and Derek Rayburn were with you, and she was in a leaning oak. And she started down that tree, and you picked up that big stick, and she run down and snapped her teeth, and you reared back and just busted her in the head with that stick. And she rang her head and jumped off. When you got back, you told me, and I'm like, Dad. And right, you got a little mad, but Ronnie said, I seen it, boy, I seen it. He hit him right, and he said, I wish I'd have got my camera on, but I couldn't get it on.
Daniel Boone.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I got a video at home with a bear on one side of the tree, and Dad had the camera, and Dad's hands on the tree with the camera in his face. And I don't, that's just a little too close for comfort.
The bear was looking around. The bear was looking around the tree at me, and I had the camera right in the bear's face.
They're switching sides back and forth. They're switching sides back and forth on the tree there. And he gets up in their face. I had one time a old rock dog that I told you about earlier. He's a real good dog, one of my favorite dogs Dad ever had. In fact, he sold him, and I told him I'm done. I'm never hunting again. And fortunately, we got him back. The guy said he was too much of a bear dog. He would never quit, and the old man wanted to go home, so we traded him back, got the dog back. But we was after another little sow, and some of them little bears are the hardest to kill that won't take a tree because they can keep moving. Them big bears, they'll stop. You can catch up and kill them, but those little bears keep moving. You can't. It's hard to catch to them. So, anyways, I'd made a bad shot. That bear got rocked down and was chewing him up. I mean, chewing him up. And I'd emptied my gun, and I was breathing too hard to make a good shot. And I ran up. I reloaded the gun, and it was a clip, and I didn't get the clip in. So when I pulled the action, it didn't seat a bullet. And I ran up in barrel's length again because I didn't want to shoot.
No.
I didn't want to shoot rock. So I ran up at barrel's length, click. And I dropped I pull the action again, click. With every click, I'm jumping back because I'm realizing I ain't got a gun. So I wasn't gonna pick a stick up and try to hit him or something. But he pulled old Rock's shoulder all out, and anyway, Rock was all right though.
Pulled it out. You just
From
hitting him, or
no? He actually, the bear stood on him.
Oh, really?
With front feet, held him down, and took his teeth and was biting into him, pulling. Just pulling these, and he tore all the front shoulder meat out of the hide. Had a big old hunk of muscle sticking out there.
And he was all right.
Oh yeah, he's fine.
And tough dogs, man.
Yeah, he lived to hunt again, and he got right up after that and was still.
Yeah, he was
bear.
still chasing the bear. He got up. He just had a big. Dad just stuffed it all back in there and stapled it up. But anyways,
that's insane.
There's a million stories. I don't know.
Literally, we could talk for
you
hours.
Can't even remember them, and you keep talking, and they keep coming. And but a lifetime. I've had a lifetime of hunting, which my kids can't enjoy now. They've taken that away from us. And anyways,
I told a guy one time, I says, this bear hunting is just like bass fishing. I said, we can catch and release. You go up to the tree, you look at the bear, you catch the dogs, you let him go. So, a lot of times when you go to a tree, if the bear's too little, get the dogs and let him go. And or if you think it's a female, get the dogs and let it go. And sometimes it's hard to lead them away, but you can do it. And I told that one time I think Josh Webster had a little video thing going, and I told the guy that on the video one time about that catch and release deal. Jay, I was wanting you to tell that story about Brother Holigar, and you had that one, you shot him or something, and we thought he was dead, and I jumped down in that hole, and
I was shooting a 223 with a soft point.
And anyways, next thing I know, the bear was getting up, and I was down in there getting ready to gut him, and here he starts getting up, and Jason had to start shooting again with me down in there with him.
I had a Mini 14 with a 223 soft point, and I hit him right in the head, and just knocked him out, and he fell out of that tree and hit the ground and completely knocked out. And he came to and got up, and he was a big bear. He started shaking dogs and eating dogs up. But I went straight home and got me a 65 grain PowerPoint Plus, and that worked on him. Boy, it drops him.
And the rest of that story was we had to get him out of that hole. And Jason is quite a quad rider. I could ride a horse, but I never was a quad rider and all that stuff. But and then we got that bear on the front of it, and Jason was getting it out of there. And we had the old Charlie Kuntz with us again, and there was a real steep spot that just went up and dropped over. Well, when Jason would get there, that front end would rear up, even with that bear on it. And Charlie would reach and grab the quad and try to pull it down, and then Jason would have to let off the gas because Charlie's in the way. Finally, about the third time, Jason said, "Charlie, just step back. I can get over this." And he just reared it up and rode it over about on one wheel. And by the time we got on top, it flopped back over, and away we went. And, a lot of good stories with your kids, Yeah. I've took all my grandkids, I've took a lot of kids bear hunting in our church. And now I don't get to take my own grandkids because it's all over with.
And that I never thought about that, how you said with the catch and release thing, as far as what's the difference? I mean, if you think about you're ripping a lip on a bass all the time and you're just throwing it back in the water, sometimes down their throat and they're dying out there in the water, but they've taken something away, and it's just it's the stupid. And for you guys that are listening to, when you hear them talking about being tired of breathing hard, it's, if you're listening in the Midwest, you're in Kansas, or you're listening in Maine, or whatever state or country you're in, people listen to this out of the country, believe it or not, it is major elevation changes, mountains, rocks, and these guys are scaling stuff that people wouldn't dare even go down. You're not walking down some nice trail.
It's not flat like the Midwest.
This bear brush that they say bear brush at Manzanita, it's horrible. You basically
worse.
can't hardly get through it. And so they are working hard to do this. So you're out in the forest where you should be, like you said, being men out there trying to raise your guy, your boys to be tough and stuff like that. And like you said, taking that away is, I don't mean to get back to that and get you guys
real.
frustrated.
Well, the sad
it is
part,
real.
the sad part of it is I've hunted Oregon, I've hunted Washington, and they've got bears. And the Oregon bears they're runners. Like I told that one little boy, I said, these bears around here are born with tennis shoes on. You run them all day long. And that one bear we seen, he crossed the road 5 times, and just running. And but what I'm trying to say is I've hunted Oregon, I've hunted Washington, I've hunted Arizona, I've hunted Idaho, I've hunted Montana, I've hunted about all of it. But the best bear hunting there is California. There's a lot more bears in California than any other state.
Yep. But like you were talking about catch and release, you can walk up to a bear tree, look up there, and you can tell by a bear's head that it's a sow, and let her go.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Make a plan.
Yeah.
So then you got guys now that are walking out through the forest with their rifle. They don't have time to make a decision. They just throw up and fire, and the next thing you know, you got a sow down with a pair of cubs.
Pair of cubs or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just so I don't understand.
If people want to argue about how it's not right,
But
that's not an argument, really.
It doesn't matter. The
It
same
doesn't.
people that want to take away the dogs, they want to take away hunting completely.
Oh yeah, they want to take the guns away.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. They're just total different people that's never been around this and grew up in it.
Well, some of the things that I see, that some of the hunting that goes on, that you just think in my mind, when will it be that they're going to take that away? Because you don't see the differences. It's just something they can start with. I don't know if it's because they think there's not as many bear hunters, so they feel like they can win that battle.
There's not as many as us.
Because you guys went, didn't you go down to the Capitol and you guys were
Sacramento.
trying to?
Yeah, I fought it 2 or 3 times. I went the first time they tried to take it, we beat it, and there's a deal on the news. They said, "What looks like the bear hunters is stuck over the Capitol."
Yeah,
Was there a lot of guys there?
I bet there was 500, and you knew when you see us.
Yeah.
We're all outdoor people.
Yeah.
You know them.
Yeah.
We there was standing room only inside the deal, and they voted it down that time. I was there, and they had some great speakers there who spoke on our behalf, and but they eventually got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope to someday move out of here. I don't know if I ever will, but
I think a lot. I know we all talk about it, but we'll see how that turns out. But anyways, I guess I'll let you guys go. Everyone's breakfast is probably getting cold up here camping. So anyways, thanks for coming on and talking.
Thanks for sharing the stories.
Yeah, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we enjoyed it.
it wasn't
I was
as bad
kind
as
of
I thought. I was
No,
nervous
I
at first.
told you.
I was really spooked talking about it, but once you get to rambling, because it's like sitting around the campfire,
That is.
boys. When you're sitting around the campfire, you tell many a story,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it all.
I'm glad you did it. I'll treasure this for sure for a long time. Like I was telling you guys, sitting down with Brother Hilton and hearing his stories. Like you said, because you guys are saying, "Oh, he's a talker." I'm like, well, what do you guys, man? If you ever come up here to camp with these guys, you'll sit there for 5 hours hearing nothing but stories.
There's a difference between talking in a formal setting
It is.
and a campfire.
It is. But I mean, we're still, like I said, we're out here sitting. If people are watching on the YouTube channel, if they do, you're going to see people walking around cooking food. Just it's the same thing. Just you're holding a black little mic right by your mouth. But anyways, thanks guys for coming on and talking. Appreciate it.